Four. All right. One out. One out. Four.
Okay, we're looking at a new version of the pairing sheet. It does most of the same sort of things. I hope it's a little simpler than the last one. Okay, so what you're looking at is the front page here. You'll recognize the tabs. There's the Players tab. There's the Courses tab, where you select the courses. There's the pairing sheet itself. And you'll notice, by the way, if I go back to the front sheet, there's also a pairing sheet here. This pairing sheet on the front page is there so you can see what's happening. This actually feeds directly into the pairing sheet on this page here. I'm sorry, the pairing sheet on the this page here. So after those three pages, then there's the scorecards. Scorecards come directly off this pairing sheet here. So anything you enter on the pairing sheet on the first page feeds this page, which in turn feeds the scorecard. Okay, these last things are course databases with hole distances, things like that, and a calculation sheet, which if you really want to get into it someday, we can sit down and talk about it. But here's how it works. It's going to be pretty simple. If the names are not in there, you can copy and paste the names in from Harry's handicap sheet. All you need is a first name, last name, first name, 18-hole handicap. So this is no longer a 9-hole handicap, it's 18-hole handicap. The reason we've gone to an 18-hole handicap is because if you look at scorecards and the way they are, the whole handicaps jump and vary from 9 to 9. So this is number 1 handicap, this is number 2 handicap, here goes number 3, number 4, and it can be that if I split your handicap in half and give you half of it per 9, you may get more or less than you deserve, depending on the toughness of the hole. So we let the 18-hole handicap determine where the strokes land versus the 9-hole handicap. It's a fair system. So anyways, if the people are already in here, and if you verify that the handicaps are correct handicaps, then you can just go through and check them off. So that's what we can do. We can check off people, and as we check them off, you'll notice Larry Allen is playing with Ollie 3 times because he's on a foursome with 3 Ollies. It doesn't make much sense, but that's what it is. And as you enter these things, it'll show you that there's 1 team here, there's 1 player so far, and there's 4 positions. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we keep track of the positions, and I'll explain some of these other things here. That's random and things. So let's put in a couple of more players so we can see how this thing works. Let me go back to return, and we'll go down here and just like you would go through the list of people who've signed on, and let's get a number of player that's representative of what we typically do. Let's just say that we now have 19 players playing the next group outing. That gives us 19 players. There'll be 5 teams. There'll be one team of 3 and 4 teams of 4. If we can look at them here, going across here, the team of 3. If I look over on the right-hand side, is team 3 here. So team 3's got one player. This team 3 is here. 1 player, 2 players, 3 players, and it's got Ollie. Okay, Ollie's got 3 strokes. So how did Ollie get 3 strokes? If I want it to be Mr. Par equals X here, I can put an X in that stroke there, and it becomes Mr. Par with 0. And if I look over here, Mr. Par has 0. And if I look on the next, the pairing sheet itself, same thing, Par's got 0. All right. So these things all line up. This allows you to do the pairings here and look at what's happening real time, right to your right. So here we go. We got everything set, Mr. Par. I decide now, let's go back to Ollie. Take Mr. Par, now it's Ollie, but I don't want Ollie to have 3 strokes. I want Ollie to have 2 strokes. So I'm going to hit 2 here. Now Ollie has 2 strokes. All right. So that's the way you control Ollie over here and Mr. Par. You can hover over this little gray area, and then you get some instructions that'll pop up. And now let's look at randomization. We used to have randomization so that every time you hit F9, this thing would change. Also, anytime you made an entry, for example, if you were doing the pairings here and you were copying and pasting things around, you would get an F9. But I did this on purpose. Protected cells. This sheet is protected, so you can't do anything on it. So no longer can you copy and paste even if you want to. So how do you get people from one team to the other? Let's show you how that's done. So let's go back to the first page. Almost everything you have to do in this thing is on the first page. So we have all of here, and let's just say we want to change a couple of people on the team. This is where the process gets destructive. Well, before we do that, let's go back to randomization. I have you can go enter a number from 1 to 9, and the way this works, if I go back to my calculation sheet and I go back to the right side here, there are 9 columns of random numbers. And what I do is, depending on the number that you enter, this 6 here, it'll pick one of these columns here of random numbers. Now, why that's important is that if I go back to here, right now it's on 6, okay, 6, but if I change that number here to something different than 6, okay, so let's go to no longer 6, but let's make that one between 1 and 9. I can make it 1. You'll see that people jump around. Okay, so the randomization is up to you. It's not happenstance. Every time I enter a different number from 1 to 9, I will get a different sorting of the players. So I have 9 different sorts I can give you. And once you've entered the number, you don't have to worry about it changing again. So there's no locking the spreadsheet down. The fact that you're not changing this number over here is in effect locking the sheet down. Okay, so here we go. Ollie is now on Team 5 because we randomized him into the Team 5. He's playing with me, Irvin, and Bob Dahl. But let's just say we want to switch 2 people on the team. So let's do that, okay? This is where it does get destructive. Every one of these cells that you see here is a formula, as you can see up here, okay? At this point, when I start typing things in, just like the old time, I'll type over the formula. It destroys the sheet for use the next time. So the point is, use a new sheet every time. Or if you know how to fix spreadsheets, you can fix the formulas. But let's just say I want Alan Holzberg here to switch with Ken Calloway, okay, for some reason. So what I can do is put Alan, who's now on Team 3, I'll put him on Team 2. So I'm going to go over here to Team 2 for Alan. At this point, nothing much has happened. It says NA here, Alan, but Ken Calloway has disappeared because we've got too many people on that team. So let's get Ken Calloway here. Instead of on Team 2, let's put him on Team 3. Now Ken Calloway is on Team 3, and I've switched Alan and Ken. All right. Now, of course, if I go into this 2 and 3, those are no longer formulas, as you can see here. So if I wanted to reestablish this, I would use a new sheet. But if I know how to do Excel spreadsheets, what I can do is just take the formula in that cell there, right? Do edit copy, go back and paste it on these 2 cells here, edit paste, and I've got Alan and Ken back, and these 2 things are now formulas like they used to be. So you can type over them. If you know how to reestablish the formulas, you can do that. The ABCDs here, you can also actually change the player's position on the team from A to B to C to D if you wanted to by doing the same thing. But that's most of the time all you're going to want to do is change from one team to the other, and that's enough. So that's how you do the players, and that's how you set up this thing. Once this is done, you can go into where these green, let's go out of here. Where these green boxes are, I can change the whole numbers here. Whatever whole number I type in there, if I put number 10 in there, so for example, if I now go to the pairing sheet itself, it's showing whole number 10 there, and this is the way I've set up the pairing sheet. I can now print off this sheet any way I want. I won't get into printing here because people's computers are different and they print everything seems to be different. Courses are selected as they were before by putting an X in the box. So if I want to go to Cypress Wood Tradition course, I'll put an X in Cypress Wood. It's going to pick the first X it sees down here, but it's a good idea to delete the old X. Cypress Tradition course, pretty easy. When there's three nines, for example, in Glenlock Pines, I can't, the X, let me go take that off. If I put an X in the Glen course for Glenlock Pines, there's actually 2 more 9s than that. So it's saying I'm playing Glen 1, but what I need to do is go 1 and 2 if it's 3 9s, and now it'll pick the two 9s the Glen and the Pines. Glen and Pines. If I want to change those, I can actually do 2 and 1. Now it's the Pines and the Glen. So when you have 2 9s, you do 1 and 2. When you have 1 9, you put an X. Okay. So that's there. You got the pairings. You can print the pairings off. Make sure the holes are right. You can't edit this page, but you can edit the players page up here. Okay. And finally, going to the scorecards like before. This says we're playing Glenlock Pines. First 9 is Pines. Second 9 is Glen. The scorecard hopefully is set up correctly. You enter the rules in these yellow boxes here. You can change this from 1 to 2 here for 2 for the front tees, 1 for the senior tees. Calculate right now at this particular base, the course database is probably not accurate for some courses. I don't have all the front tees put in and things like that. If it's not, you can actually go in and edit some of these numbers here if you wanted to. But right now, the scorecard may not be accurate for the front tees. And little things that maybe are unknown, you can check. The calculation is done for the 2 shortest par 3s, but you can change the closest to the pin just by changing these X's here on which holes you want. And of course, the stroke play is now based on 18. So some of these little X's down here don't necessarily work anymore. They used to be able to cut out the strokes for 1 9 or the other. Right now, since it's an 18 hole calculation, these little X's, you can ignore them down here below. In fact, I'll get rid of them, and this little asterisk should probably ignore too. Just leave the strokes on for the 18 holes. So there you go. That's the way it goes now, and this should work good. I have a little trouble with some formatting on some of these things. The formatting keeps on disappearing on some of these holes here. I apologize for that. We'll keep on trying to fix that. So hopefully this helped, and hopefully this version of the pairing sheet helps you do it a little bit faster.